I am now, without much ado, going to ask Madam Aruna Bahuguna, who is the director of the National Police Academy from Hyderabad.
While the South Asian nations covered in the report, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Maldives, have a common colonial past and heritage, women in police in India do face certain unique conditions. Police in India is already fraught with a number of pathologies, and all that the men in police in India suffer, so do the women. However, the women in police in India, in my opinion, do carry certain extra burdens due to their gender. These hurdles in the path of their achieving a proper work-life balance is one of the issues I would like to speak about. Now, we have had several national women police conferences. We have made recommendations, but when we hold these conferences, I would like to point out that they are attended by all ranks, from constable to Director General of Police, and of all the wings of the police, that is the Central Police Armed Forces, the CPOs, and the states. But ultimately, when the recommendations are made and they're sent to the Ministry of Home Affairs, what happens is that the government of India says what the minister just said, is that law and order is a state subject. It is up to the states to implement what they want to implement, and that's where it stops. I mean, there is no mechanism to monitor, to ask to what extent they've even deliberated on those subjects, on those suggestions. Every 2 years, this conference is held. Sometimes the same recommendations, what we're talking about, the 33% reservation, mainstreaming. Mainstreaming is one of the biggest problems which women in police face, because all the women, every generation, I mean, starting from when we were in the police to even now, the junior most levels, want to do certain jobs, but then it is always what Madam Mehra has said, that it is the insecurity, or for whatever reason, they just say no, they cannot do it. Where the women, you have women commandos in almost all the states. They want to do jobs, but again, they are just kept there. They are kept as showpieces, and then very often they are pushed into jobs as receptionists, or what you have shown in your thing as women police stations, or child looking after missing children and cases and things like that. So I think these are some of the issues where, unless we have bodies from outside which put pressure on the government to take action, I don't think things are going to move, because everything is so set in government, the procedures are so set. Like I said about harassment at the workplace, there are cases happening all over. The committee, what you're talking about, the committee has inquired into it, given a report, but no action is taken, because it's the same old thing, asking for the explanation and show cause notice and this, that, and the other, and it just takes years to, actually lead to anything. Then about the expectation, I think the first hurdle, which on women who have to work the double day, with devaluation of the work done inside the home as opposed to the work done outside the home. There are barriers that women create for themselves by internalizing systemic discrimination and societal gender roles. As I said, I've been working I head the police academy, and even in the National Police Academy, where now the number of women has increased considerably, even at the stage of joining, you find that the men have this attitude towards the women colleagues, that, ultimately they are not going to be able to do the job as well as we are going to do it. They are not going to be as capable. And personally, many of us, I have served even in the Central Reserve Police Force, served in insurgency areas, served in left-wing extremist areas, but yet when it comes to the crunch, there is always the attitude that, no, she's a woman, she cannot head it, she cannot do the job as well as a man would. There will be constraints. So I think this attitude, however much a woman performs, however well she performs, she has to prove and reprove herself doubly and triply, but it's never enough. And then we come for what I was talking about, the second hurdle for women in police in India. Barring a few regions in the country, the patriarchal mindset of the people which places women in subordinate roles and finds it very difficult to allot sui generis leadership roles to women unless the role has been inherited as a wife or as a daughter. So this is what I said, however much a woman may prove herself, the attitude is patriarchal. The attitude is that only a man can do it. And there are several instances where women have been overlooked, and even now it is happening, are being overlooked for posts because of this. Either it is what we would call a whispering campaign, or rumors are spread that no, she doesn't want to do it because it's too difficult. She is happy where she is. She is in her comfort zone. She doesn't want to get out. And for whatever reasons, various governments, whether at state or the central level, have taken these decisions based on these mindsets. The third hurdle is the perceived nature of policing itself. As the report brings out clearly, policing is seen as an inherently dangerous and physically demanding work that is unsuited to women. Whatever women are therefore relegated to do so-called non-field jobs. Therefore, in the name of insulating them for the rough and tumble of everyday policing, women get confined to women police stations, women help desks, or juvenile handling. While the global average of women in policing is nearly 9%, it is about 6.1% in India, Chandigarh leading with 14.1% women, and Assam at an abysmal low of 0.9%. While the fifth report of the National Police Commission in '79 recommended increasing the percentage of women in police from the then 0.4%, it had also recommended that women be recruited more at SI and ASI level and not so much at the level of constabulary, and to have a common cadre for women police so that they were an integral part of the police and not a separate subsystem. What this actually means is that when women are recruited, for example, there are cases now where women are recruited as constables or as sub-inspectors. When it comes to a promotion, now if a woman is, we had a case of a woman DSP. She was recruited as a DSP, and when she had to be promoted as an additional SP, they said there is no post of woman additional SP or woman SP, and she was not promoted. Her colleagues, her juniors, everybody was promoted. She had to go to court and fight for years and years together, and then the court finally gave a decision in her favor by which she had just about 1 or 2 years left to retire. So this is what happens, that this is what it means, that when you call a post as woman so-and-so, then you say there are limited posts or there are no posts, and then the women get, though their colleagues who are junior to them, get promoted because there is no separate cadre for them. Some states like Maharashtra have had an affirmative action in terms of reservation for women for over 4 decades now. And it is instructive to note that the figure of 33% women in police, as advised by MHA in 2009 and 2013, is nowhere achieved. The reservations for women also exist only in 12 states as on date. Therefore, besides an affirmative action plan, states have to have a proper recruitment policy and also create combined cadres, what I've just said, for men and women. Now, when we talk about this reservation, on paper, certain legislations have also passed it. But when it comes to the actual recruitment, we find that even DGPs of the states and the IGs of recruitment say that, no, let us not waste posts, because it is with such difficulty that posts have been created. There is always, as it is, the ratio of police to public is very low in India. And they say, when we have so few posts, why waste them on women? So this is the attitude of the male police, senior police officers, the senior leadership. So even when posts are created, when there is when they talk of 33% reservation, they don't actually do it when on the ground. While the first woman IPS officer in India was recruited in 1972, today in 2015, out of 101, that is the present strength of IPS officers under the basic Phase 1 training in the National Police Academy, there are as many as 28 women. So that is the ratio, 28 to 151. Though this is not on par with the 1/3 target, it is still an appreciable advancement. As the report clearly brings out, while the women IPS officers' lot has improved, it is the junior ranks who continue to suffer the problems of masculine work environment, sexual harassment, lack of facilities at the workplace like restrooms, toilets, and creches, long and uncertain working hours, and discrimination in postings. While women IPS officers do get access to 6 months maternity leave and 2 years childcare leave, even in the few states that have these provisions for the state police, women find it very difficult to get access to these benefits. Now, what happens is in the field, when women are working, for example, at the ASP or the SP level, you have certain crimes called grave crimes. Now, grave crimes require you to go to the spot where the crime has occurred and investigate until that the investigation, the detection takes a certain direction. Now, what I have faced at that level, you go into very interior rural areas where there are no facilities. You sleep out under a tree, or you find some kind of platform in front of a temple or in front of a village school or something to sleep. You have only male officers, colleagues around you. Even in the academy, when I trained in the National Police Academy, for a large part, I was the only woman police officer at that time. Now, the difficulties which you face, I came from a very sheltered small town. Hyderabad was small town, a girls' school, a women's college, a very strict women's college hostel. And suddenly you're thrown into this kind of society, with about 50-odd men, you're the only woman. And then when you go out into the field, it's much worse, because like this, you're walking for long stretches, walking through jungle areas. But I think now the situation has improved, because you do have more women at the lower level and you have women to accompany you. So things are better, things are looking up. But I think as a matter of policy, even now modernization, what we were talking about, modernization gave funds to state governments for building toilets for women in the police stations. Many states took this amount, used it for something else. They even showed plans of police stations and showed, on paper, and showed the plan with the toilet, with a room for women to change, creche, things like that. But on paper, those rooms were used for something else. So this is what actually happens, and modernization funds were not used for what they were meant for the women. For the Ministry of Home Affairs, for Parliament, the National Commission for Women, the state home departments, and the state police departments. I would urge the state police departments to cultivate a gender-sensitive organizational culture, improve in-career training opportunities, implement family-friendly policies, improve working conditions for women personnel, eradicate gender bias in assigning tasks and responsibilities, ensure non-discriminatory promotion procedures, and enhance the visibility of police by increasing the number of women police in police patrols, police control room vans, beat duties, traffic duties, other public interface duties involving interaction with the general public and not just women and children. Now, when we talk about family-friendly policies, the national conferences which we have been having have been recommending something called mainstreaming of women police, and also lifestyle management. Now, lifestyle management, everyone knows when you join the police, you're young. At a certain period of time, you're going to have your children. After that certain point, the children are going to be small, and then after that, you are relatively free to take on certain tasks. This allocation should be aligned with greater recruitment of women with specific planning and deployment to place them in such frontline duties. We all know that women are known for their empathy. Women are known, a lot of the time, complainants who come to the police say that just listening to us is, half the job done. But then what happens is that they are not there. There is nobody to listen to them. They are put as receptionists in the police station. As a receptionist, all you have to do is receive the person and pass on the person to the sub-inspector or the inspector. And again, that person is always in a hurry, always overworked, always stressed out, and doesn't have the time. So when we know that women have the empathy, women have the sympathy to listen to people, if this is given to them, it would work that much better. I thank all of you, and my request to bodies such as this is that these are bodies, women who are in service, who are in government, are bound by certain rules We cannot speak out, we cannot criticize, we can make recommendations, we can make suggestions, but if they are not accepted, there is only so much we can do. But I think it is bodies such as this which have the power to enforce, to bring pressure on the government. I think these are the ones who really need to bring about changes, and unless these are brought about, the changes which are there in government will remain cosmetic, they will remain on paper, and they will have there will be no results in the field. Thank you so much.
Thank you.